Welcome back, everybody. This is My Journey 4K. We are back in IMSA in the Dallara P217. Let's get into it. Looks like we're starting the race in 7th position today. Strength of the field today is a 29.07. We're coming into this race with an 1150 rating. Looks like we're side by side into turn 1. Gonna have to be side by side again coming into Radion here. One car on the inside of us. Looks like they're gonna slow up. Some smoke up ahead. Looks like some parts from some cars off to the side. We can see some hypercars are grouping up. It looks like somebody else has a very similar paint scheme to us. Another car off to the side there. A couple BMWs crashed. We're the number 49 today, though, so we don't get confused or mixed up. A couple hypercars just in front of us now. The field is really close to them, or they've all been having issues with crashing and whatnot. Car behind's gonna go to the inside here, pushing us out wide. We might have lost that position. We'll see if we can cross over and get them back. We're going side by side in the S's. We're gonna go a little wide to avoid the contact. Looks like we may have fallen to 8th. We'll have to see what that updates to when we cross the line soon. This is just the first lap. We're trying to get our tires up to temp. Looks like some hypercars have made some things difficult for the cars in front. This is a 35-minute race today. We're gonna need to stop for fuel at least once. Car in front losing control, gonna hit us on the side as we're passing. A lot of cars having to avoid back behind us. Looks like they may have been damaged and called for the tow, even though they were right next to pit lane. Looks like we got ourselves up to 6th place currently. We started the race in 7th. We must have gotten up to 6th and fallen back, or possibly one of the cars in front of us had crashed with the hypercars. Decent gap to the car behind right now. The cars in front are going to battle side by side, or at least the car would look like it was trying to make a move. At 2:22 is our first lap, our initial lap anyways, trying to get the tires up to temp, and I'm not sure when they start that time, when they actually go green, I believe. Currently 6th in class. Trying to catch the group in front, starting to open up the gap to the car behind quite a bit now. About a 2-second gap to that car behind. See him just showing up there. Less than a second to the car in front of us right now. We are starting to close that gap. Looks like the other car with the similar paint scheme is in 1st place in our class. We're still in 6th. Doing okay so far. We might have taken a little damage when the car lost control. We did come in contact with them, it looked like. Alright, so far, pretty quiet. Not a lot happening in front of us. Cars are nose to tail, though. Hoping the battle will give us an opportunity to close the gap and get into the top 5. With the strength of the field at a 29.07, we've got a really good chance for points here. Started in 7th, currently in 6th. Have a decent gap to the car behind. The pit window will open in about 5 minutes. We may or may not pit early. Depends on if we feel like we really got damage from that contact. I don't think we will, though. It won't be this lap anyways. It looks like we're closing the gap to the car in front of us a little bit. Possibly finding our pace out here. Hopefully we can close that gap soon. Not let them get too far away. Start to put the pressure on them. Want to get up into 5th place here. This is a 35-minute race. A license requirement for entry. It is the fixed setup series, so there's very few options that we have to change, if any. I believe something like brake bias might be the only thing you can change. I don't really change the settings too much. I'd leave it on its default setup. And with all of the cars in our class being the same exact car with the same setup, it really does come down to the driving ability. We are in a multi-class race, and the lead class is the hypercars, also known as GTP. Then there's the LMP2 Dallara P217 prototype. That's our class. And then there's a GT3 class behind us. They are mostly production race cars. See, we ran a 2:05.799 on the last lap, hoping to improve on that. It was an okay lap time for Spa. Cars in front bunching up a little bit. We might get an opportunity to close this gap up. Looks like the green car's losing some position. They're gonna go side by side, maybe? Have to see from this view. They are battling pretty hard there. Looks like the number 30, who was in the lead, is in the group in front of us now. Maybe I had it wrong. Looking like they're going too wide there. Some more battles trying to get by that green car, it looks like. I believe we've closed up the gap just a little bit. just over 10 minutes into the race now. I think pit window for the early times should open up in the next minute. Probably coming in this lap maybe. For the LMP2 cars anyway. I can't really speak for the others at the moment. I feel like I've seen the GT3 cars go quite a bit further on their fuel, at least here. We've really closed the gap to the number 32 in front of us now. Starting to catch this grouping. We are in 6th. This will be the battle for 5th. We've closed that up, and they're starting to lose time to the cars in front of them. About a 3 to 4 tenths gap. Our last lap was a 2:05.377. That probably helped us a little bit close that gap. We are capable of running there in those times. I would think we would be capable of catching this person in front of us then, if that is the case. I think our tires are really finally starting to come into their own now and allowing us to run some good lap times. I don't really see damage on the car from the possible contact in the bus stop chicane on lap 1. We may be considering an earlier pit stop in case there was a tiny bit of damage. They can hopefully get the last of that repaired. Our lap times are looking alright though. Not really looking like we have much of a damaged vehicle. Gap to the car in front's opened up just a tiny bit from last lap. That will probably flow back and forth just a little bit. We can tell they're feeling the pressure from us. Well, we're still in 6th place. We started the race in 7th. Pretty clear track in front and behind at the moment. Losing a little time to that car in front of us. Not sure if that was our fault or they just picked up the pace. Seems like they could. The car behind is not the same one as before. It looks like they may have fallen back a few spots. Possibly due to an error. Gap to the car in front looks like it's about a second at the moment. The red, white, and blue car behind looks like it's closing the gap maybe. Not the car that was behind us earlier. Not really certain where they're coming from, really, to get this kind of pace to just catch and pass us. We haven't had many issues or errors. Had that little bit where the car in front of us lost control and went sideways, and we touched them on the side a little maybe. Ooh, we're starting to catch the GT3 cars. This Ferrari has no front end. Looks like we're up to 5th. Possibly because of a pit stop that we didn't see. In the top 5 now. Started the race in 7th. Looks like the Ferrari's getting out of the way. We're going to flash our lights and let them know. I'm going to catch them and get in front. Back to the racing line. 2:05.8 last lap. Lost a few tenths to the car in front. They're probably running those low 2:05s. We need to get back into the low 2:05s. I think one of the cars in front of us had stopped into the pits. So we are up to 5th. And we're 6th for most of this race. So far. It is a several second gap to the car behind. It looks like we might have closed the gap to the car in front just a little bit. Maybe we did find some of that pace again. Looking like a pretty clean race so far. Car doesn't really look damaged. Maybe we didn't come in contact with the car who lost control in front of us early on in the race. The gaps to the car in front are starting to get bigger. Another LMP2 car pulling off into the pits. Probably is a good time to pit. We were starting to catch GT3 cars, but the one was very heavily damaged. You can see that Ferrari back there. Up to 4th place. Staying out a bit longer than usual in the last several races. That's alright, we still don't really see GT3 cars. Just the one really heavily damaged one. Plenty of time in the race. Pit window won't actually close for another 10 minutes or so. Started the race in 7th, currently in 4th. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. You can see some GT3 cars just ahead now. Looks like we're really starting to catch the field. Probably be a good time to stop into the pits after this lap. Try and avoid some of that slow down traffic, and we'll have to see where we end up when we come out of the pits. Having a pretty decent run thus far. Not too many errors so far. Car's clean, it looks like. Catching another Ferrari. Letting them know we're catching quick. Gonna flash our lights. See, we did not pull into the pits this time. Car in front of us looked like it did. We're going to have a decent passing opportunity right up here, I think. Going to give them plenty of room. We'll lock it up just a little bit. We are in 3rd in our class now. Mostly because a couple of cars in front of us have pitted now. We still need to take our pit stop. Starting to catch and pass the GT3 traffic now. They've got pretty decent gap between a lot of these cars at the moment. So it's probably feeling pretty good to just stay out. Not too many of them are battling side by side in front of us, slowing us down or anything like that. This red, white, and blue car may be catching us a little bit. Number 44 behind us in our class. Don't know if that's because of traffic possibly slowed us up. I don't really think so. We haven't hit too much traffic to slow us down. Maybe a tenth or two here or there. This one's going to slow us down a little bit though through these corners. Hopefully we get a good position coming out. And they're going to go back to the racing line. We'll get to the inside and pass them there. Car behind us looks like it might be held up slightly by them coming out of those last corners. We're currently in third, and that red, white, and blue car has been slowly closing that gap most of this time. We take on tires in the pits, we'll almost certainly lose that position. Looks like we're pulling into the pits now. Car behind is doing the same. We're gonna lock it up just before entry. Should be alright though on our tires. Coming in third. Car in front missed their pit stall just a little bit. I don't see us taking tires at the moment. We are getting out. Looks like this is the first race we figured out to double stint. So that was a pretty good stop. We did get out in front of that red, white, and blue car. Did not see any tires replaced. We'll have to see what position we end up in when we cross the line. About 12.5 minutes remain in the race now. We've completed our pit stop. You can see an LMP2 car in front of us now. We did pull in third place. Spent most of the race in 6th. We started 7th. You can see the red, white, and blue cars just a little bit further behind us now. Our pit stop was slightly faster. It's really good to know that we've figured that out finally and we can double stint our tires. This is the first time we've actually done it in a race now, so we'll have to see how we can cope with that. Because the tires do degrade. At the end of the race, they get a little bit slippery. Have to see what position we're in when we cross the line here. Looks like we might be... Currently says 7th place. And then it says 8th. Look at it soon. GT3 car just ahead of us. Should be able to get around them before these corners. No problem. So hard to read the LCD panel on the side right now. Some smoke up ahead. Well, let's just see. Nope, that's overall position. Wow, 11th in class currently. That is... Well, pit window hasn't closed yet. There's probably a few cars to still pit. They may have just been holding on as long as they can. We pulled into the pits in 6th place. We started the race in 7th. We held off from coming in until we got up to 3rd position. But one lap after coming out of the pit says we're in 11th in our class. I would expect a few cars to need to pit soon. Red, white, and blue car is starting to catch us more now. GT3 car just ahead. Wonder if maybe GT3 traffic is the reason why they've caught us so much this lap. Looks like we're back up to 7th. Whoever had needed to pit had to pit then. Let's see if we can't get past this Ferrari before the corners. Ooh. We're going to have to slow up behind the GT3 car. The red, white, and blue car did make the pass. We're going to sit in the slipstream for a little bit. So currently we should be in 8th. Barely got by that Mercedes in front of us. Both red, white, and blue paint schemes. Flashing our lights, trying to get by before these corners. We can get back to the line and get back to full speed. A lot of traffic up ahead. I think we're currently in 8th. We started the race in 7th. We figured out how to double stint our tires though, so we'll be a little bit better off now on our pit lanes. A lot of smoke up ahead here. Slow moving LMP2 car. Bright green. Looks like something happened to them. They were up in 5th. At least I think it said 5th. We're trying to run down this red, white, and blue car now. We did fall down to 8th when the red, white, and blue car passed us. But then an issue with this bright green car that's behind us now has allowed us to come back up into 7th place. Oh, looks like 6th. Something else may have happened that we didn't see. Currently up to 6th place. We did sit in 6th place for quite a while. A little over 6 minutes remain in the race. How many laps we do will depend on where the leader is when time expires. This bright green car is looking to make a move there. Close that quickly. Looks like not letting this red, white, and blue car LMP2 in front of us get away. Hopefully we can get up there and have a chance for 5th place. Another car not too far ahead. This new pit strategy of double stinting tires, we're going to be much better off in these races. We'll probably be much closer to a lot more of these cars when we come out. And when others eventually finally make their pit stops. It actually took me sitting down and watching a few replays a couple times to see And I think I was even timing them with like a stopwatch on my phone anyway, to see how long they were sitting in pit lane. And then I had messed with it in practice a few times before coming out and attempting to double stint tires. Still in 6th place. Not too much of a gap to 5th. Not too much of a gap to 7th. We're over 30 minutes in now. Looks like we may have opened up the gap to the car behind just a little bit. Using their windshield wipers. Don't know why we pulled off over there like we had to go defensive. They didn't really have a run. They're not that close. Red, white, and blue cars starting to get away from us a little bit. We must have had a slower lap that last lap or the one before. Kind of surprised we're not seeing traffic right now. It's been a few laps clean of traffic. Time is running out. Looking to keep the rest of this nice and clean, I hope. We can hold on to this position. 6 is alright. Pretty good strength of field here. Let's see, we ran a 2:05.25 last time, which is an alright lap. Really want to be in the 2:04s though. But that would put us much further ahead in the sharp end of the field if we can get there. About a 1.5 second gap to the car in front. Still in 6th. Trying to shake this green car behind us, but they are still there. We built up a little bit of a gap though. They were closer a couple laps ago, I'd say. Just over 2 minutes remain in the race. Looks like we're finally seeing the hypercars. That should be the leader right there in the yellow Cadillac. I think that means 2 more laps total. 1 more after this one is finished. Still in 6th place. With less than a second gap to the car behind. Maybe that'll open up a little bit more when the hypercars catch us here. Not taking tires in pit lane for this has put us in front of the hypercars for much longer. Having to deal with so much traffic really slows you down. And this time we didn't have to. That might explain why some of the cars were so far ahead of us before. Simply because of the traffic. Lead car is gonna go by us with less than a minute to go in the race here. May have slowed us down a tiny bit there. We're gonna go defensive-ish. Not the best line coming out of that bus stop chicane. Green car's right on our tail now. White flag's waving. This is the last lap. We went a little bit defensive and then came back to get back to the racing line. The green car behind went a little bit sideways. Maybe that'll let us keep that gap a little. They are definitely in the slipstream right now. we're probably going to have to go defensive. That is the leader in front of us, the number 22 Cadillac. We are going defensive. They have a run. We're going to go side by side here briefly. May have touched. Not giving us a lot of room to race. Down to 7th. Last lap. Don't really see anyone behind us but the hypercar. Couple Cadillacs. Losing a little bit of time to that green car in front of us. Not happy about that. But they did get a run on us. We didn't go defensive enough. Was a little bit worried about getting rear-ended or something on the very last lap. So we let them by, hoping to make the move again back on them soon after. But we lost a little bit of time. Hypercar is starting to catch now. This is the last corners. I don't think they're going to get by yet. Alright, so we started the race in 7th. We're going to finish in 7th. Our rating went from an 1150. We gained 36 points. We're going to go up to an 1186. Almost a 1.2k. We'll get there soon, especially since we figured out the tire situation. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.